Your hands are in cold water again. There is a split across the knuckle of your right index finger, and the salt finds it every single time. It has been open for 11 days. You are washing the same 6 plates you washed yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. Above your head, in the room at the top of the stairs, the light is turning. This is your life as a lighthouse keeper in the North Atlantic. You came here because the work was steady. That was the whole reason. You had a trade before this, and it was not steady. And one winter, it stopped being a trade at all. Someone told you the service always needed men who could be relied on to stay awake. You thought that sounded easy. You were wrong about which part would be hard. The tower is stone and it stands on rock. Not an island, a rock. At low water, you can walk the whole of it in less time than it takes to boil a kettle. At high water in a gale, the sea closes over the base of the tower and you feel the stone move under you. It does not move much, but it moves enough. There are 3 of you. There are 3 of you for a reason, and every keeper in the service knows the reason, and none of you say it out loud. 3 men alone on a rock is not a crew. It is a problem waiting for weather. Your quarters are round because the tower is round. Your bed is curved to fit the wall. There is 1 table, bolted down. There is 1 stove. There is a shelf of books that belong to the service and not to you, and you have read all of them, including the ones you did not want to read. In the drawer under your bunk, you keep a tobacco tin with a photograph in it. That tin is the only thing on this rock that is yours. The light is the whole job. Everything else is waiting between the light. At dusk, you climb the stairs. You wind the mechanism that turns the lens, and it is heavier than you expect every time, even after 1,000 times, because it is turning a lens the size of a small room. The lens is glass ring set in brass, and it takes a single flame and folds it into a beam that carries out over the water. It is the most beautiful object you will ever be close to. You clean it with a cloth and your own breath. Then you sit with it until it gets light. The oil has to be watched. The wick has to be trimmed, or it chars, and the flame dulls, and the beam softens. And a softened beam is a lie told to a ship. You trim it. You trim it again. Your thumb and forefinger are permanently stained, and there is a smell in your clothes that no amount of washing takes out. And after the first year, you stop noticing it. And after the second year, you notice that you have stopped noticing. You write in the log every day: wind, sea state, visibility, hours the light burned. Your handwriting is the handwriting of a man with cold fingers. If you write nothing, that is also a record. It says the day was the same as the last one. You are always slightly cold, not dangerously, just always. The stone holds the damp and gives it back to you. Your boots never fully dry between October and April. There is a green bloom on the inside of the north wall that you scrape off, and that comes back. The food arrives by boat: flour, salt, meat, tea, oil, and more oil. Fresh things last a week, and then there are no fresh things. Your teeth ache in a low, constant way in the deep of winter, and you know exactly why, and there is nothing on this rock that will fix it. You eat a great deal of tinned milk. You dream about apples with an intensity that would embarrass you if there were anyone here to tell. The boat is the only thing that changes. It comes when the sea allows it. The sea does not always allow it. One winter, the relief is 9 weeks late. You are not starving. You are careful, and the service knows the sea, and there is always more in the store than a man needs. But you go down to the store one morning and count what is left, and then count it again, and something in your chest does a thing it has not done before. That night, you trim the wick, and your hand is not steady, and you have to stop and put both palms flat on the brass until it passes. Nobody speaks about it afterwards. You live with 3 men. You know the sound of them coming up the stairs. You know which one clears his throat before he says anything, and which one hums without knowing he is doing it. You have heard every story either of them has. Twice, then more than twice. The rule is that you are civil, not friendly. Civil. Friendly is a thing that can break. Civil holds. You take your watch, you hand it over, you say what the wind is doing, and you go down. You do not comment on the humming. You will never comment on the humming. In summer, the birds come, and the rock is loud and white with them, and you are absurdly, disproportionately glad. In November, a storm puts sea over the gallery rail, which is above the height of the light, and you stand inside the glass and watch water fall down the outside of the lantern like a curtain, and you think about how much the tower weighs and how long it has been standing, and you keep the flame steady because that is the job, and it is the only thing you are actually for. Ships pass. You almost never learn what happens to them. You see a light on the water and you watch it until it is gone, and it does not become a story. It becomes a line in the log. This is the part nobody tells you. The danger is not the sea. It is the sameness. It is the fact that today has no edges, that Tuesday has nothing in it that Thursday does not have, that a month can go by and leave nothing behind it to remember. Men come off the rock and cannot sit in a room with a lot of people in it. Men come off the rock and find that they have stopped being able to make small talk. You start conversations in your head and finish them there. You count things: steps on the stair, turns of the winding handle, days until the boat. You know the number of panes in the lantern glass. You know it the way you know your own name. The split on your knuckle heals in the spring and opens again the following winter in almost exactly the same place. That is the closest thing you have to a calendar. You do this for years, long enough that your shoulders change shape from the stairs, long enough that you go ashore and the ground feels wrong, too wide, too full of choices, long enough that when they finally take you off the rock for the last time and you stand on the deck watching the tower get smaller, you understand something you cannot say to the man beside you. Not one ship ever thanked you. Not one of them knew your name. They only ever needed to see the light and know where the rock was and go around it. And every one of them that went around it because you were awake. You will not be able to sleep properly for a long time. Your body will keep waking at the hour of your watch, in a bed that does not move, in a room that is not round. And your hands are in cold water again. Warm kitchen, no salt, no wind. The knuckle is white now, a thin line you have to look for. You could count the things you did today on one hand, and none of them mattered, and none of them had to. Somewhere out there, a light is still turning.